we can hear you.
Do you want me to give Kath a call so Tom, you can
if the live stream's on or not before we start?
Well, I hope somebody's confirming whether it's on or not. Is it on?
Just give us 2 seconds.
Are we lit up? Has the fuse been lit?
I can confirm the stream is on, Chair, and the meeting is being recorded.
Right. Thank you, Tom. Thank you for that. Right, we'll start again then. I'd like to welcome you to today's meeting. It is being live streamed, as we've just been told, and we've got people remotely accessing this agenda. So we'll start by asking for apologies. Have we any apologies? No apologies. I've got no urgent items of business. Declarations of interest. I shall be declaring an interest in item 6, which is the Shirebrook Crematorium, and item 10, which is the refund of leaseholders' management fees. I think Sandra has declared an interest in item 6, and we'll both be leaving the room at that time. But to aid progress, I'm suggesting that we move item 6 and item 10 to the end of the agenda, so I've not got to keep going and coming out. Are we okay with that?
I would second that.
That's
Councillor
fine.
McGregor.
Thank you, colleagues. The next one is the minutes. We need to consider the minutes from the last meeting held on 29th of June 2020. You'll find these on page 6, hopefully. Can I have a mover that these are a true record?
I move to record, Chair.
Thank you. Seconded.
I'll second that they are true record. Can I
Right.
just comment on these, Chair?
Yeah.
If we all. Yeah, yesterday I was reading the paper and apparently there's going to be pollution barriers 30 foot high could be installed alongside the motorway to protect the health and nearby residents. I wonder if the Director of Environmental would look into that for us, please.
I'm sure Karen will have a look at that, and so will Deborah. Won't you, Deborah?
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yes, of course.
Any questions on these minutes? Anything on page 6, page 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and finally page 12. So everybody's happy, and we've noted what Mary said regarding pollution, which would probably fit in to the minute number, whatever it is, EX6 2021. Right, we'll now move on. We've got no matters referred from scrutiny. Equally, we've got no matters referred from or regarding budget and policy framework. Non-key decisions, item 5, corporate plan targets performance, Q4 2019 and 20. And I can see Kath somewhere on this screen. Is it you, Kath?
Yes, I can do it. Yes, that's fine.
Duncan will move it first then. Come on, Duncan.
Thank you, Chair. You'll notice within the report, colleagues, there were on the, if you look on the appendix, you'll see that there's been 3 failures in respect of the targets. But I'm sure that Kath will allude more to that if you've got any questions on them. But I think they are self-explanatory in regards to that, and that is G11, C13, and H09. So with that, I'll hand over to Kath. Thank you.
So you happy for Kath to run
Yeah.
through this, Duncan?
Yes.
Kath?
Okay, so as Councillor McGregor has just noted, there are 3 failed targets. Shouldn't be any surprise to members. We've been reporting some issues around these 3 targets for quite some time. I think what's reassuring to know is that all 3 targets are rolling over under the new council plan performance framework. So members and officers obviously will get an opportunity to try and improve these targets going forward. So they are obviously important targets around recycling, relets, and bringing back empty properties. So they're not going to be going anywhere. They will still be kept under review by officers and members. Pleasing to know that obviously the majority of targets have been achieved for this transitional year of targets for 1920. So that's obviously good. We are just waiting for confirmation of the number of new builds for the year. That does require planning to go out and do a physical count. So we would normally expect this figure by now, but obviously due to COVID, there's some delay there. Hopefully we'll have that figure to pull through at Q1 when I bring the report back to the Cabinet at that, to exec at that point. So on the whole, obviously quite a good set of performance figures, and the ones where we've got some issues around, we'll continue to work with those going forward. So that's good as well. So that concludes the report, Chair.
All right, thank you. Any questions from members? Nick?
Yeah, morning, Steve. Thanks, Chair. The target, one of the targets is fair, which is about recycling H09. This last weekend on Friday, the recycling collection in Bolsover, there were more than several complaints. There were lots of complaints about bins not being emptied due to alleged contamination. A lot of it is being disputed by residents. I have emailed Steve Brunt and copied Debbie Watson into the email as well, but it's something we need to be aware of. If we're not meeting targets on recycling already, if bins aren't being emptied and completely ignored on occasions by the operatives, and that's been flagged up to me by the complainants. They said they've watched the operatives just walk past the bin, just not even touch them at all, and carry on walking. So other wards, the subcontractors missing out bins deliberately.
All right, thanks, Nick. Any comment on that? Deborah, do you want to comment on it? Or do you want to leave it?
Yes, thanks, Nick. I saw your email early this morning. Steve Brunt, as I'm sure you're aware, has already replied. I think sometimes we do need to investigate whether, excuse me, the complaints about contamination are actually correct. Sometimes there is a misunderstanding in what is recyclable, but what we actually recycle. There is a difference between the two. If indeed it's correct that the operatives are walking past and not taking bins, obviously that's something we need to take up with wards, and I will have further words with Steve Brunt later on this morning.
Okay.
Yep, thanks for that.
I'll be talking to the leader of Chesterfield later on today, and I'll probably have opportunity to raise this, because this recycling program is more than Bolsover District Council and so on. So that'll be investigated, as Deborah says. Do you want to say anything else, Nick?
Yeah, it's just a slight more, not so much on the whether bins are contaminated or not, is that the general attitude of the operatives, abusive language being used in the street. Residents have complained directly to them, but the complaints have been ignored, which doesn't show Bolsover District Council in a good light, because the residents perceive although they are subcontractors out, they still perceive them as the base of Bolsover District Council.
Who have they complained to? I've not received a complaint.
No, they complain directly to the people on the wagons themselves.
Because I'll take a dim view of this sort of thing, and I'm sure every member of Bolsover District Council does. But unless we know about it, there's not a lot we can do. So at least you've raised it now, Nick, and we can explore that, can't we? And it should have been raised earlier, I should imagine, but we'll look into that. And I'm sure officers are listening. I know Karen's listening, and that'll be investigated. Duncan, did you want to say something?
No, I wanted to draw reference to C13, colleagues, on the.
I'm sorry, Councillor McGregor, we can't really hear you very clearly. If you can turn your microphone on, please.
Thank you. I didn't press the button. Sorry. C13 on the appendix. Reduce average relet times of council properties, not including sheltered accommodation, to 20 days by March 20. And on the text on the Q4, it says here, the average relet time for the quarter is 31 days. And in brackets, including sheltered housing, the overall average was 87 days. I think what I'm requested is that we have a full report on the reason why sheltered accommodation is not included as a total relet in the relet quarter.
Sandra, you want to say something?
No, I'll pass that to Chris.
Christopher?
Thank you, Chair. Scrutiny, I think it's Health, Community Safety has already asked us for this report, so it is in progress. I think in particular, the sheltered accommodation is so long, I think is regarding COVID, the fact that they weren't able to move, but we'll do the report anyway, and we can bring it here if you like as well.
Well, I'll wait for the report. I take account of the fact that we're doing a lot of refurbishments in these. I do get that, and I accept that. But once the refurbishment has done and been completed, that flat then is ready for reletting. The point I'm making is I don't think they're counted in the statistics. All I'm asking for is that is looked at. It's the reason why. And if they are included there, which this report tells me that isn't the case, then I think we can have a further discussion. But I'm just making the point at this stage.
Duncan's just asking for accurate statistics.
If there's no further questions, Chair, I would move the recommendations on page 16, that's 6.1, that the progress and outturns against the corporate plan 2019-20 targets be noted. Thank you.
Duncan's moved the recommendations. Is
I'll
that
second
seconded?
the recommendation. Chair.
Seconded, yeah. All in favour? That's unanimous. Right, we'll move on. The next one is the crematorium, which we've moved to the end. Playing pitch improvements at Clown. Now, this one's yours, Mary. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is an opportunity we should grab with both hands. With the Football Foundation and Derbyshire FA in partnership with Bolsover to deliver an all singing and all dancing football pitch here at the Arc. This will put another top class facility here at the Arc alongside our leisure facility. We already have these facilities that are top class, and Bolsover and the district deserve this. So I'm going to hand over to Wayne or Matt if they'd like to come in and explain a bit about the rationale. This has been going on for about 2 years, Wayne, been talking to the Football Foundation. So before I move the recommendations, I'll ask for questions.
Who's going to speak on this, Matt or Wayne?
I'll go, Chair.
Right.
Wayne can support in any detailed questions that need answering, but just to give the overview and where we are in the process. So this is, as the report suggests, something identified in a local demand study called the Local Football Facilities Plan, and that's a Football Foundation and FA document, and they've identified the Arc here as a strategic site. The pictures at the moment, again in the report, it outlines how difficult it is to get usage of those due to flooding issues and general things associated with the pictures that I'm sure that you're all aware of. Having the 3G carpet down there significantly reduces the amount of lost opportunity to play matches, so increases usage as well. Following this process of executive decision, there is a period of feasibility work which is done by the Football Foundation, which will result in a submission to the Football Foundation, and we're aiming for October. There is then a 3-month period in which the Football Foundation make their decision. So we're anticipating a decision from Football Foundation on the match funding, which will include the full feasibility work that has been done in January next year. That's pretty much it from me. The recommendations are in 1.6. Happy to answer any questions.
Right, thanks, Matt. Any questions on this? Duncan?
It's not a question, it's, I think, consideration has to be given to page 33, 3.1. It's the consultation and equality impact, and I'm really pleased to see that there is a pre-application from a planning perspective already in place on that. I'm absolutely supportive of the principle of this particular project. I think it's really good, and I think the report explains it fully in terms of that. I just want to make sure that there's a planning application would have to be submitted in terms of this, and to take note of the areas of where that would be raised in any planning application, which would be from the Derbyshire Wildlife Trust, environmental health, parking and so forth. But I do welcome the application. I would be supporting it. Thank you.
Right, thanks, Duncan. So, colleagues, this is just to start it off. Is to set money to one side, identify cash in capital program, and you know, and it starts here. I mean, there's no point doing anything else if it's not going to, we're not going to start it off or put money in capital program. So there you go. It'll be subject to planning, environmental health studies, and all sorts of things. Mary, you want to move it?
Yes, Chair. If there's no more questions, I will move the recommendation 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, 6.4 with an extra one then, Duncan. 6.5, subject to the issues raised by Derbyshire Wildlife and the environmental health advice, these can be addressed as part of the full planning application, if that's all right with everyone.
Yeah, I think it's.
That's an extra recommendation.
Yeah, that's okay.
Councillor McGregor, I would second that recommendation.
So it's been moved 6.1, 2, 3, 4, and 6.5 that Mary's just added to the list. Are we all in favour of that? Yeah, that's carried. Next one is exclusion of the public.
Councillor McGregor, I would move the recommendations of exclusion of the public. Thank you.
Councillor Sowerby, second the recommendation.
It's been moved and seconded that we exclude the public for the stated reasons that under section 100A4 of the Local Government Act 1972, as amended, the public be excluded from the meeting for the following items of business on the grounds that they involve the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in the stated part 1 of Schedule 12A of the Act, and it is not in the public interest for that to be revealed. And the category for each exemption is identified on the agenda. And we'll move on. So we'll move on.
Sorry, Chair. Could I just confirm?
So once the exempt business has been concluded, we will have to go live again and admit the public for that item at the end of the meeting.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'll not be here then, you see. So
no, I just wanted to confirm before we concluded this current part of the live.
Donna, just for clarity on the award for Raising Aspirations contract, can you remind us that that is not in exempt? Is that what you were saying earlier?
Yes, so there's 3 items that we have outstanding. So raising aspirations should be in the public session,
Right.
as with the Shirebrook crematorium item, and then the leaseholder management fees should be in exempt. So I think we have gone live again, if somebody could confirm that for me. So we would need to then deal with those 2 public items first and then go back into exempt for the leaseholder management fee.
Oh, is it easier to go online now for this one and then go back into exempt? Which way do
I
you want
think
to
we
do it?
already are online if somebody-
Okay, we'll stop in there. Right, we'll go on to item 6, which is the Shirebrook crematorium, page 27 to 30.
Thank you, Chair. I'll move.
Who's dealing with that one? Which the officer?
It'll be economic development, that one. We'll
Right,
just wait for Sandra to go.
right. Right, Councillor Smith.
Okay, thank you. This purpose of this report is to update the executive on proposals for a possible crematorium at land at Shirebrook and to secure funding for the pre-planning technical work. We're asking for £20,000 for pre-planning technical work for this project. We all know that we have a partnership for another crematorium somewhere else. We know it works. It's a good location. And if nobody has any questions, I will move the recommendations at 6.1. But obviously, Grant and Chris are in the room should there be any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Grant? Chris? Whichever.
No, just pretty much what Liz has said. We've identified a site. What we need now is some money just to do all the due diligence work behind whether there is a demand for that particular crematorium in that area. So happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Clive?
Well, I'm happy there's only £20,000 coming out of transformation fund this time on it all is. So we perhaps need to educate you a bit more. This is more like what I'm comfortable with. The bottom line in it all is, yeah, we are in a partnership with Chesterfield and North East Derbyshire over at Brimington, aren't we? You know, I think this is again a way forward. There is seeming to be a need here, and once we get this sort of survey work or whatever done, you know, that'll decide whether or not. Again, my question is it going to be a couple of 3 months before we get sort of some information back on us so we know where we're going? So at least you haven't spent my money straight away. Okay, bless you.
Grant?
Thank you, Clive. Yes, I'll pass you over to Grant again to let you know how long it'll be.
I thought that.
Yes, it'll be in line with the what we said earlier. So we'll be looking to procure, and that probably take up to a month, and then reports will be coming in the next, 2 to 3 months following that.
Happy with that, Clive?
Yes, yeah.
No, the question you ask is correct and right. Mary?
Yeah, this is another small amount. And if members are aware that there is money to be made on crematoriums, as we know. So this is a no-brainer really, because it's our side. So I'm totally in agreement with this. So.
It's not always the best subject,
No,
is
it isn't. No, it isn't. But,
but having said that,
yeah, it's
there is
not money lost.
Yeah, there is a commercial side in terms of
yeah.
income generation.
That's a sad thing.
Yeah, but the point that Clive had made, that there seems that there is a need.
Yeah, definitely.
I know that there was 2 not so long ago built over towards Retford Way, very close to one another as well. Okay, we want to finish off, please.
Yeah, so yeah, I would simply move the recommendations on page 29 at 6.1, that £20,000 is allocated from the transformation budget again
And if I
to
may,
commission these reports.
I'll second that, just to show there's no ill feeling between Liz and myself in it all.
Okay, thank you. That's been moved and seconded. All in favour, please show. Thank you. That's unanimous. Thank you. Next one, colleagues, is item 10 on the agenda. That's page 64 to 68. Right, who's taking this one, please? Because Sandra's not here.
Sorry, Chair. It's not item 10 is the exempt item, leasehold management fees. It is, sorry, if you bear with me.
Chair, it's
Item
item
11.
We've got to take into raising aspirations in open.
Is item,
Item 11 is in the exempt session on your papers. It is a pink paper, but that's in error. It is actually a public report.
we hadn't dealt with item 10, had we?
We have not yet dealt with item 10, so if you can deal with item 11 in public session, we'll then go back into private session for that final item.
Okay, right, well, we'll do that. Thank you. Right. We're now on to item 11. Mary?
Aspiration, Chair, is that what we're talking about now? Confusing, yes. Yeah, as we all know, Raising Aspirations is the flagship of Bolsover. A lot of years ago, over 10 years ago, and Pam's behind me, so she'll know exactly the date. The 4 tenders we had on the 2nd of July, one from Derbyshire Education Business Partnership, was an excellent in every way. It really was an excellent tender, which was written by Claire Talatig. I am asking for the executive to endorse the decision to award DEPBP the contract to continue delivering the Raising Aspirations programme. Before I move it, does Lucy want to say anything regarding this, because she was in with the tender with us?
No, nothing further to add, but happy to take any questions.
Right. Any questions?
Mine into question, and I'm not spending this money anyway. It's just on 1.3 where it says the money is Derbyshire County Council's locality and placed budget.
Yes.
I like being on DCC. I'm not sure, and I'd seek Sarah's guidance on that, whether I need to declare an interest at that stage on that particular bit of it.
No, DCC. Yes.
If I might, Chair, you've done enough. You've said the connection. I don't think it's anything more than an insignificant other interest.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
If there's no other questions, then I'll move and we note the contents of this item.
Okay, been moved. I will second it with pleasure. All in favour, please show. That's unanimous. Thank you. Donna, make sure I'm doing this correctly. We're now on to item 10.
Yes, so Chair, just before we move on to that item, we'll need to just move into private session. So if somebody could move and second and vote on the exclusion of the public, and then we'll.
Right, I will move the exclusion of the public, and that's under section 100 of the Local Government Act 1972 as amended. The public be excluded from the meeting for the following items of business on the grounds that they involve the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in the stated part 1 of Schedule 12A of the Act, and it is not in the public interest for that to be revealed. I move. Have we got a second?
Second
Liz,
that,
thank
Chair.
you.
Oh, sorry.